it play and call it work.
Hey everybody, and welcome to Codex Supplement Raven Guard First Impressions and Review with Luka from MiniWarGaming, Steve from MiniWarGaming. Let's talk Codex Supplements, Space Marines Raven Guard.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have two of these up today. We have the Raven Guard and the Iron Hands. We watch either one in order, whatever.
Doesn't really matter.
We have played both games. We have played a game where I played Eldar versus Iron Hands, and then Luka played Death Guard versus my Raven Guard. Both are very fresh in our minds, and I believe as we talk about this book, thoughts of the other book might bleed into our mind.
100%.
Because while I kind of really, no, not kind of, I really enjoyed this book. I think it's really narrative. I think it's really a unique way of their play style, very shadowy. And this is fresh in our heads, it just pales in comparison to the Iron Hands and their power, which potentially might be a good thing.
I think so, yeah.
Because I don't think anybody's going to call you cheesy for doing this, even though there's some really good stuff in here.
No, don't get us wrong. This Raven Guard book makes Raven Guard play exactly like Raven Guard should play.
True.
It plays Raven Guard very well, and that's all you should want from this.
Now, interestingly enough, before we get into the meat of this book, there is something we kind of noticed while we were doing both of these Codex reviews and we're talking about the armies. So the Iron Hands, for example, and actually the White Scars and Space Marines do okay or well with all Space Marine things.
Right.
And then they work well with Primaris as well. Whereas, early opinion, the Raven Guard do really well with the new Primaris stuff.
Like specifically only Primaris.
Yeah, and especially the Phobos. Right. I think the Phobos stuff from the Space Marine Codex is more of a boon to Raven Guard, though don't get me wrong, I think I actually really like the Phobos stuff. They're good for all of them. So while this may be a little pale in comparison to the other three, in our opinion, we factor in the fact that much of everything in here is actually, like, basically what we're saying is all the new Phobos stuff feels like new Raven Guard stuff.
Right. It's hard to look at this book and not realize that it really feels like the Phobos stuff was made for this supplement. Because
let's talk about the very first thing. Well, let's briefly, we'll talk about Kayvaan Shrike. So we just move on to that page, just because we're going in order here. So Kayvaan Shrike went down 20 points. Great. He got Primaris eyes, so he got an extra wound. He's got a better pistol, which can target characters, theme of the book.
Yep.
And his Raven Talons, 6 attacks, -3, 2 damage, whatever. Maybe he does a mortal wound on a charge. Okay, so you don't look at Kayvaan Shrike's rules as, wow, it's amazing. But what you can see with this character is he's relatively cheap for a Primaris Phobos, he has a Phobos keyword, jump Chapter Master.
Right, he's going to fit into pretty much any Raven Guard list super easy.
Yeah.
There'd be no reason to run him.
So we don't have to spend much more time on him because he's exactly as you expect.
And you guys can see his battle sheet, his little sheet here on Warhammer Community. It's very easy to go check.
Is it there? Beautiful.
Yeah, it's both him and the new Iron Father.
He is actually slightly buffed and 20 points cheaper than his previous incarnation. So good. Okay.
Yeah, like dropping 20 points and become Primaris, that's always nice.
So Luke and I, before we get into their special abilities, we had played a game where we rolled randomly for our mission and it was cut off the head.
Yeah.
And in the moment we had this both look at each other like maybe we should re-roll. Like no, we rolled that one, we're gonna play that one because the Raven Guard special rule, their doctrine rule basically, is called Surgical Strikes. While the tactical doctrine is active, when resolving an attack made by a model with this ability, so that's everybody.
The entire army.
Against a character unit, you add 1 to the hit and wound rolls. That's really good, kinda.
So it's very uniquely good in the form of you have to think of it outside of the box. When you're thinking of when you're playing against knights, almost every opponent you play against knights is going to have a character knight because they want to give him a relic.
OP against that guy.
Right.
OP against them.
So your entire army, while the tactical doctrine is active, +1 to wound that knight. That's huge. Or if you're playing against knights, you can really target down their 1 character or 2 character knights. Also really good against Mortarion and Magnus.
Yes.
Yeah, easy to shoot characters.
We played the chapter approved 2018 scenario where it's all about killing characters.
Right.
And while it helped, no spoilers for the game, I don't think it would have been that big a deal. It was, but like it's not as impactful nearly as the Iron Hands one.
No. Well,
or the White Scar one, or the Ultramarine one.
Because the problem with this one, I find, is it's weird that it's in the tactical doctrine, which is odd because
I think that's the as much as it's kind of boring and not that useful. The worst part about it is the tactical doctrine.
Because it would work best in the Devastator Doctrine because of Sniper Scouts.
Yeah.
Which work really well with that because the Sniper Scout rule, whenever you roll a 6 or more to wound.
True.
So this makes it 5 or more for the more wounds, but it'd be nice if your sniper is also at AP.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting one because yeah,
at the same time,
either way,
it
you
works
get
really
it,
well with
you get it.
aggressors. Yeah.
It's not. This one's not wowing us.
No, I don't think, but it is very uniquely good against certain armies you're facing against, and it is weird that the other chapters that come out have like this army-wide buff that's just generally really good.
It is an army-wide buff.
It is an army-wide buff, but it's not always going to be that relevant army-wide buff because you can very well easily play against an opponent's army that just doesn't care if they lose characters. I lost my Tyranid Prime. Well, I guess Tyranids are a bad example. They need that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah.
It's like when you can make use of it, you're gonna be glad you have it. But few and far between, I think.
Right, and also we'd like to note that the battle report we're talking about is in the MiniWarGaming Vault. If you're not a Vault member and you want to check that out, go to the link down below. It's a 7-day free trial. If you just want to check out the games that we played with the Iron Hands and the new Raven Guard, you can just cancel literally right after you watch the battles, and it doesn't cost you a dime.
Thing.
And we just find that most people often stick around because they're a little curious about what else we have in there. And we have a lot, guys. So back to the review. Surgical Strikes, situationally good. Probably the weakest.
The weakest of the ones we've seen so far.
Yeah, because White Scars, I would say the White Scars is the second weakest one, but it's still very useful because that, once you get into combat, that can be a lot. Chainswords doing 2 damage each is pretty cool.
Well, the thing with the White Scars one, it's kind of, it's not, you may be waiting a few turns to get to it.
Right.
But you know you're going to be using that in every game.
Right. Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, you don't know if you're using this in every game.
And then, the tactical, the tactical, this doctrine it's good, not always.
Yeah.
But when it is good, it's real good.
It's funny. It's like, yeah, that's true. It's funny. It's like, we're not saying like, oh, this is terrible. We're not saying that. No. It's just, if this is the first one to come out, I think the community and us would be like, that's kind of cool.
That's really, really cool, yeah.
But we saw what some other ones got. And you're like, oh. So it's a little bit of, it's a little childish.
But it feels Raven Guardy, right?
You're right. It
They're
feels
assassins.
Raven Guardy. And that is the theme of this book. Actually, that's the theme of these Codex supplements. Right. You buy the Space Marine Codex, and then you can buy these supplements, and you know if you're playing against a Raven Guard player, the list and the play style is going to be different than if you're playing against an Ultraman player or an Iron Hand player. And that is, honestly, Games Workshop,
genius. I think it's an amazing idea.
Now, do this for the Chaos book. But,
right, 100%. Every time you approach a different Space Marine chapter, you have to approach them differently.
Could you imagine like if they did that with Eldar chapters or Orc clans? It'd be a lot of work. I don't expect it to happen. But like this took one codex and we're getting a lot of different stuff.
Oh, you better believe it.
All right, Warlord traits. Okay, so interestingly enough, Luka and I have talked about Raven Guard quite a bit. Yeah. Maybe the 3 or 4 times now. We've had opinions. Played a game and our opinions have changed.
Yep.
We'll try to point that out when we can.
Yeah, because we looked over this before. We had a lot of discussion beforehand. Then we played our game. Then we had different opinions. And then we took a day, and we had even more opinions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You think about it more after the fact. Okay.
Right.
So we'll go through them as fast as we can. Shadow Master. Campfire, Overwatch, is Warlord.
Super good.
Okay. If you're a Charger, which this book wants you to do a lot
Right.
of.
So the one thing with this book is it has like an identity crisis.
It does. Well, no. Here's a weird thing. The identity is still Raven Guard. They still want you to do the Raven Guard thing. They want you to strike from the shadows, but they want you to charge. Also, they want you to shoot.
Yeah.
But they want you. No. Okay. Here's the thing. I suspect they want you to charge, but like I can do better by shooting.
Oh, one thing I want to know with the Surgical Strikes one. Another thing that's weird about the Tactical Doctrine thing is it works. I think it works. It works in the assault phase as well.
You're right.
But so I feel like this would have worked better during the assault doctrine or the Devastator doctrine. It works well in the tactical doctrine.
Honestly,
it would have worked better in the other
So
two.
in hindsight, I don't want to. I hate to do this. I don't like to be like, okay, this should actually blah. It's so early. I shouldn't say that.
Right.
I think we need to go back and adjust this surgical strike rule. It should be irrespective of what doctrine you're in.
Yes, because
a lot of this book wants you to charge.
Yeah.
And once you switch to the assault doctrine and get your charging off and start doing your charge things,
you're Space Marines in combat.
Your Space Marines in combat for one thing, which is also terrible. Yeah. But you no longer have your surgical strikes. So yeah, surgical strikes. Maybe we can get this errata to happen. Even if it was errata to work in every doctrine, every What are they called? Yeah,
doctrines, yep.
Whenever doctrines active, it worked. I'm still not going to charge though, but that's neither here nor there.
Right.
I'm just trying to help the guys who will charge and switch to the assault doctrine.
But just a note for anyone out there who is curious, if you're in the tactical doctrine, you do get +1 to hit and win characters with close combat as well, which is really good.
Yes. Oh, for sure.
Especially with like Shrike or whomever, right? Now the one thing we went before the Warlord traits, I want to say that it is weird because a lot of the stuff here, it really seems for you to want to be in close combat. Everything for
a lot of boons for charging.
But at the same time, I want to imagine it was maybe a mishap from Games Workshop. Those same abilities work really well for shooting. Do you know what I mean?
I know. I don't know what their intention was.
Right.
If they gave us a really good book for shooting and then some bonus for
Like,
combat,
maybe-
or they tried to make it a combat thing, but it turned out it worked better for shooting.
Maybe because all the other codexes seem spot on, they do this one thing. This is their chapter thing. Maybe they meant for this to be a close combat kind of base, shadowy infiltrating.
It can't, because then that would be the assault doctrine.
Oh, that's true too. Yeah, maybe you're right.
I don't know what they were going for,
Yeah.
except for their identity is there.
Right.
And I like it, so it's good. I'm not complaining. We're not complaining. I actually, I dig this. It's just, yeah.
So I think Shadow Master is an outstanding Warlord trait.
Yeah. So no Overwatch.
Right.
Okay. Master of Ambush. Okay, this one I thought was amazing in my auto include.
I
every
still
time.
think it's amazing.
It still is good, but because of certain stratagems, it may not be an auto include.
Right.
But it's still very good. So Master of Ambush is at the start of the first battle round before the first turn begins. So after C's, you pick your disc model and one friendly Raven Guard infantry unit and redeploy them anywhere on the battlefield, 9 inches away from enemy models and enemy territory. That's a big deal.
Right. So that's the biggest change because that's what they used to have before for a stratagem. That was like their old Strike from the Shadows thing, right?
That was their old Strike from the Shadows.
Yeah.
Basically, you spend a command point and you come out of reinforcements anyway.
But before the first turn begins, so like
This
it was
but it wasn't before. Originally, it wasn't before the first turn
Oh,
begins.
okay.
Yeah.
But it was really powerful if you went first because then you could move
it?
to your nest.
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure it was very similar to this. But now you have to be more than 9 away from their deployment zone as well.
Which means if they leave you a hole in their back corner, you can't go there.
can't-
So
you
you're
can't
pretty much going to go.
manipulate that,
So that's really good. Don't get me wrong. We're not saying it's bad. It's really good. Except for there's a stratagem that can kind of help you out here, but we'll get to that when we get to that. So it's still quite good. I might still use it most of the time, to be honest.
I think so. Okay, think of it with honestly aggressors.
And that's the thing. Okay,
Right,
so
it's just so obviously
everything
with
we
aggressors.
talk about, you're like, think about that with aggressors.
Right.
And helplessers.
Like, say you go first. You have your 6 aggressors. You Master of Ambush them with your Warlord. Maybe it's a Chaplain. That Chaplain says, you're all +1 wound now. Oh, by the way, it's the first turn. They haven't moved yet. They're 9 inches away. They get to double tap into whatever they want within 18 inches.
Yeah. Now,
Granted, they're probably dead after that, but they've killed something
probably. But I mean, maybe not, because hopefully they're in terrain.
Yeah.
And they have extra wounds. They have 3 wounds now. In the bat rep in the vault, I tried it with 10 intercessors solely for the purposes I wanted the AP right away,
Right.
and I wanted
That's true.
to spend 2 command points to give them 40 shots.
Yeah, because it works. It works well. It works well with intercessors because they do have AP right away with the bolt rifles and then 40 shots right away. Or you could, if you don't have a reroll for whatever reason, maybe the assault with a bolt. Assault. What are they called? Assault rifles.
Auto bolters.
The auto bolters where you use a stratagem for 30 automatic hits.
In hindsight,
Yeah.
I don't think I'd do it again with them, honestly.
No.
I think aggressors, even though they're going to die, I think they're worth that sacrifice. If I want more aggressors, I'll bring more aggressors.
That's true.
So I think aggressors is where it's at with this one.
They are lacking the AP, but they're still +1 to wound.
It's still
it's
just
over 100
a
shots.
boatload of shots.
So it's 72 plus 66. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, sorry, 12d6.
And if you get Catechism of Fire on them,
So even at minimum, what is that?
you can run up a Lord or even Kayvaan to give them rerolls to hit, a Lieutenant to reroll ones. Like, it's you put aggressors out in front of your opponent's line right away. It's just,
On average. It's just crazy on
Come
average.
on.
That's always over 100
come
shots.
on,
That's
it's so
nuts.
good. I mean, it's not Iron Hand's good, but whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, Swift and Deadly. Okay, so friendly
the
Raven
first-
Guard.
this
Yeah,
is
this is
the
the first
first.
one.
Yeah.
Friendly Raven Guard units within 60 Warlord can charge even if they advanced.
Yep. I'm trying to think of what that would be good for. So aggressors, because they can
Yep,
advance
it
and shoot
worked.
their guns.
Actually, it's always aggressors.
Yep.
Master of Vigilance. We resolve the attack made by the melee weapon with a Warlord. Unmodified 6 inflicts 1 mortal wound in addition to other damage.
Is it mortal wound?
This one's mortal wound. It's slightly different.
Oh, it is slightly different.
Yeah.
How would you look at that?
Feigned flight. Your Warlord can fall back and move over terrain. Whatever.
Yeah, so they can fall back as if they had fly.
All right, this is a funny one because we were first talking about this one.
Echo the Raven Spire.
We're like, I would never. Like, it would come in handy once every 20 games.
But you're never gonna bring
I'm
it.
never gonna bring it.
Right.
The first game I played, I'm like, I wish I had this Warlord trait.
It would be amazing. For
So in the game, you could, if you watch it, like I wish I had this Warlord trait. Once per battle, at the end of your movement phases, this Warlord can vanish into the gloom if they are more than 6 inches from enemy models. When it does, remove from the battlefield, and you set this Warlord up again at the end of your next movement phase.
Right.
So you're on the table for a turn.
Right.
More than 90 waves of enemy models.
And you can't do this on turn 5 or you're destroyed.
Yeah.
Because there's no... Unless there is actually is a turn 6.
No. All it says is if you're not on the table at the end of the game, you're destroyed.
That's true. Unless there is a turn 6, then you're fine. But don't do it on turn 7.
Yeah, don't do that. Don't do that. So I know it's like so situational, but in the game we played, like it would have been amazing.
Yep. And I want to note, because I actually forgot to do this on the Iron Hand review, that the new name character for the Iron Hands, the Iron Father, I forgot to go into detail about him.
Right.
But I forgot to go on his Warlord trait. Kayvaan Shrike's Warlord trait is Shadow
He's
Master.
always had that one.
He's always going to be...
So no overwatching is Shrike.
Yeah. He is a sneaky boy.
Okay, so the first day we got this book, we read it, we go home, come in the next morning, we start talking about some things. We get to the Relics page, and I'm like, I don't remember anything.
Can't remember any of these.
None of them still, like, they were all, like, none of them were like, they're all kind of useful, but none of them stood out in my mind like, I'm going to use this one.
Which means they're not that amazing.
Right, but then I used one. And I think I'm going to use it every time.
The Ex Tenebris.
Okay, so there is a Ebon Clause. It's Lightning Clause. It does D3 damage, AP3.
Yeah.
Armor of Shadows, you reduce armor penetration of -1 to 0. So if a weapon has -1, it counts as 0. If it has -2, it counts as -2.
Yeah.
Not bad. I think it's the Salamander thing, right? When you unmodified a hit roll of 1, 2, or 3 always fails. Right. Again, it's pretty good, especially when I'm in combat.
Right.
I don't care.
Yeah.
The Ravens, I don't remember. The Raven Skull, there's the jump pack. I don't even care.
The Raven Skulls, once per turn, you get a reroll on hits, wounds, damage rolls, is destroyed.
Like honestly, here's just funny. I don't even mean this as an insult because I like this book. They're so boring. You can't even read them.
I know it's kind of long, so it pretty much says once per turn you get to reroll 1 hit, 1 wound, 1 damage roll, and if he's destroyed, your Raven Guard army get +1 to hit whatever destroyed him, like a vengeance thing.
And the funny thing is, this is nothing new. Like there's always been a good, a bad, and a bunch of mad relics.
It's true.
And Warlord traits. So that's just, it's typical when you have this many things. Though the Ex Tenebris is a gun that kind of, I mean, I didn't really think much of it. Then I used it once. Like, I'm probably gonna bring this most of the time.
This is the
not all the time though.
This is a lieutenant weapon only, right? I think.
Not lieutenant because it's mastercrafted Stalker bolt rifle, mastercrafted Oculus bolt carbine, and a mastercrafted Instigator bolt carbine.
Are those the
I
Phobos captains?
believe those are Phobos. Yeah.
Okay. Right.
So I gave it to my Phobos lieutenant.
Yeah.
So it's an Assault 3 weapon. So with 36-inch range.
Yep.
It's only Strength 4 -2 damage. But it can target a character.
Yep.
And it adds 1 to hit.
Yep.
In addition to your +1 to hit, because you're
shooting a character in the so it's
surgical
+2 to
strikes,
hit.
+2 to hit, and when you're in Tactical Doctrine.
And +1 wound.
It'll be -3 AP when you're in Tactical Doctrine.
Yep.
And you get no cover from it.
Right, but it doesn't have the sniper rule of 6 to do more wounds, so it's just
Right.
It's 3 shots that do 2 damage
But
at AP3.
The game you're going to watch,
And when it's most
minor spoiler, jump ahead 15 seconds if you want to hear this, minor spoiler. Okay, Ex Tenebris did more to characters in our game than my Eliminators.
Right. Yeah. Because it's
just a relic.
It's just a good relic, right?
There is a cool. Okay, it's not cool, but it's kind of cool.
It is really cool.
The Oppressor's End. It's a relic combat knife.
It's a knife.
It's a special dagger.
It is literally a special dagger.
+1 strength, 2 AP, 1 damage.
You get an extra attack with it because
extra attack.
And when you hit a character, 3 damage when you actually instead of 1.
They want you to assassinate your opponent's characters. 3 damage instead of 1.
Imagine it's in the tactical doctrine phase. Your knife doesn't get extra AP because it's not the assault doctrine phase.
Because you
yet.
can't go into that because if you lose your surgical strikes.
You're being a +1 hit and wounded character with this, so you're strength 5 with +1 wound characters, and you're doing 3 damage.
I don't care. I still love this book. It just lacks focus.
-2 AP.
It doesn't work well with itself, but it does.
The Oppressor's End.
Okay, so then special issue Wargear, adamantine metal, artificer armor, digital weapons.
The stock 4. Okay. Obviously, mastercrafted weapon being a Lucky Lou because Smash Captain Thunderhammer band 4 damage to swing, always good.
Shadow Master Cloak. If you're in terrain, you have a 3-bit audible save. Give that to your sergeant. Really tank something up.
That's true. You could. I didn't even think about that. So these are the special issue Wargears you can give to your sergeant. You put your intercessors in cover. 3 up and bow.
Problem is, I don't know if I'm gonna have the command point to spend on that.
I don't think you will.
We'll get to that though. All the good's coming. All the good's coming. There's a pistol. It can target a character.
Nice. It is a strength 5 -2 damage target sniper pistol.
It adds +1 to hit.
Oh, just like the Ex Tenebris, yeah.
It can target characters, and it's pistol 2.
Yep. And now every chapter gets special bolts that they can that their sergeants can use on their bolt guns if you spend the command points for a character. This one gives you an extra 6-inch range to your bolt weapon, whatever bolt weapon you choose, and they ignore line of sight. Probably the weakest of all the ammos.
I don't care.
Yeah, I don't think you'd ever use this one.
There's a shard of Isvan. Add one of the attack characteristics of the model with this relic. In addition, morale tests for friendly chapter units within 6 of this model do not have to roll to automatically pass.
That's actually not bad. Automatically passing morale is always nice, but
But like, am I going to take that over another relic?
No,
you're not going to.
Yeah, I think the best one here is probably Ex Tenebris, unless.
Honestly, if we ever got to a codex where we looked every relic or every warlord trait, my mind would explode.
Like,
so whatever, I don't care. What I'm saying is, I don't care. Like, I'm not upset that that's not amazing.
Right.
Who cares? Okay.
Stratagems are good.
Okay. Stratagems lack focus as well. But
They do.
They do. They lack focus.
But I think there was, we thought originally there was like 3 really good ones, and then we narrowed it down to 2 really good ones.
And I think we're back up to 3.
Oh, Infiltrators.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So which ones are we going to go through? Okay. Infiltrators. Now let's talk about the important one.
The important one? Right away, Strike from Shadows?
Yeah. Strike from Shadows is back.
Yeah.
Proper. So it's 1 command point used during deployment, so you use as many times as you want. You're not in a phase yet. Select 1 Raven Guard infantry model unit, and you can hide it in the shadows, and they can come up in as reinforcements anywhere on the table, and nice way from your models.
Yep. So
wow, aggressors and hellblasters popping up on turn 2, already in your tactical doctrine, +1 to hit and wound characters, which actually did apply in the game.
Yep.
I was able to get onto one of his characters.
And that's AP5 Plasma, Hellblasters.
AP5 Plasma. Yep. Hellblasters that don't need a vehicle to get across the table.
Nope. They can show up wherever you want them. Well, more than that way, but
in rapid fire range.
They were crawling out of the woodwork. They're hiding wherever you need them to hide.
I surround. Minor spoilers. It won't ruin the game. Okay, our game was actually really good. It was
a really
you
good
can
game.
watch at the end of turn 1, you can't predict who's going to win. At the end of bottom of turn 1, you can't predict who's going to win. At the end of battle round 2, you can't predict who's going to win. It was a good game.
Yep.
So I'm going to let you know that at one point I was able to really control the table. And I think that's what Raven Guard do. They can really control the table, especially with this.
And if you were curious if Infiltrators are worth it, I think they made a really, really good showing in this game for their utility.
What do you mean?
The Infiltrators.
Oh, you mean Strike from Shadows?
No, like the Infiltrator unit.
Oh, the Infiltrator unit, yes.
Yeah.
Oh man, if they were any cheaper, they'd be too good. I love the Infiltrators.
They're pretty pricey, but that utility they have against certain armies like Genestealer
cults. I had a bigger blob of where Luka couldn't deep strike because the 12 inches on them.
Yep.
And I literally surrounded him with Hellblasters and aggressors.
Just hammering into the Death Guard.
So this stratagem carries the entire faction.
And this is where we were talking about, this in conjunction with a couple of other stratagems, we were talking about maybe you're not going to actually have any stratagems when the game starts.
Because we're going to spend them all.
Blow them all right away.
And because I had to put half of my models on the table, I have another stratagem. Infiltrators. Okay. Use this stratagem at the start of the battle round, before the turn begins, so again, before C's. After.
Yeah.
Select 1 Raven Guard infantry. Again, this book is all about infantry.
Yes.
Iron Hands wants your vehicles. I want my infantry here.
Yep.
Select 1 infantry unit on the battlefield. Then you can move as if it's your movement phase, so you can advance. So it's no longer a 9-inch move like it was the last one was errated to.
Yep.
It's a move as if you're movement phase, but you can advance, right?
Right. So on average, you get more out of your movement in this one.
But you must end with 9 inches away from enemy models.
Yes.
That's it.
Yeah.
So you can enter their deployment zone.
Yep.
So your infiltrators can start just by their deployment zone and then head in, running in. Now, oddly enough, I want to double check. No, I'm positive. The aggressors say if they didn't move in the previous movement phase.
Right.
So they can do this
and then still
not move in their movement phase and still double shoot.
I'm pretty sure that's the case here. We don't actually have the Space Marine Codex. Well, it was in here.
I did bring it, but here's I double checked that when we reviewed the Space Marine book because there was a while where if you didn't move in your last movement phase, you couldn't do it. It says the last movement phase.
Right.
So if you move on your turn and your opponent shoots at you and you overwatch whatever, you didn't move in the last movement phase, which was theirs.
Their movement
so I did check that, So you can, unless there's no errata, so it doesn't count as moving.
As this comes out. But Strike from the Shadows and Infiltrators, obviously very Raven Guardy and very powerful stratagems that they have access to.
If I burn all my 8 to whatever command points I have on those 2 stratagems, I will not be upset because I have such table control. I've already dictated much of the game. That I'm okay. I don't need. Those 2 carry the whole book. I don't get to reroll ones to hit. So I don't have amazing shooting, which I do though, because I'm still Space Marines. But these 2 stratagems are so good it carries the book.
When you're playing this book, don't expect to table your opponent right away. Expect to outplay your opponent in the movement.
Yes. You're outplaying the movement phase, but you could. You could end them turn 2.
This book in the hands of a very tactical, movement-based player is going to rock the table. So the idea with Warhammer 40K is you win with proper positioning, good movement, and target priority. And I think that's literally what these guys are all about.
Yep.
And if you can play their tactic well, then you're gonna shine as a player. Whereas a lot of the other, like the Iron Hands, seem pretty one-dimensional. Like,
Static and shoot. Don't move
right.
and shoot.
Well,
You can move.
They can. That's the
You can.
yeah.
That's the thing. Well, your goal over there is to like, I'm here with my guns.
You're
I'm going
literally
to shoot you now.
You're literally overwhelming.
Whereas Raven Guard is, I'm not here with my guns, and then I'm going to shoot you now.
Right. Yeah. Exactly that. So this
is there any other strategies we're talking about? We can booby trap. Yeah, we gotta talk about Stranglehold.
Yeah.
We can booby trap objective. Kind of cool.
Yeah. There's two really cool stratagems here if you're playing Maelstrom of War. One, you force your opponent to discard their card. If you have any scouts, if you have any Raven Guard infantry or bikers within 3 inches of an objective marker in their territory, you can actually select one of their tactical objectives to force them to discard it.
Yeah, that's kind of cool.
That's really powerful.
I'm not gonna play Raven Guard for that stratagem.
But
it's kind of cool.
It's there, yeah.
But you might play Raven Guard for Strike from the Shadow stratagem. I said that really fast. You might play Raven Guard for the Strike from the Shadow stratagem.
I would assume
Is that cool?
I think so, yeah.
So there's another one we're going to talk about with a lack of focus, or maybe this is what they've done. Strike from the Skies is one command point. A Raven Guard jump pack unit can charge even though it advanced, and it adds 1 to the result.
I'm not too sure what they mean to do with that one.
Maybe you can deep strike a big blob of Vanguard vets, and then you spend this even though they didn't advance, and get a 9 agent charge.
And then they die in close combat.
I don't want to be in combat with Raven Guard.
No. So this is the thing we're talking about. Like it showed up a couple times in the Warlord traits and the Relics. The whole advancing and charging with your jump pack, your infantry. I think the only good infantry thing that these guys have in close combat would be aggressors.
I will try it. Interestingly enough, though, I suspect that this might be a thing that I would use because there are often times when I charge, it's probably not to kill something. It's usually to reposition.
Yeah, every time.
Okay, so one more stratagem we're going to talk about. Mostly right now, Luke and I are going to laugh at ourselves for a minute.
Yeah.
So you guys might not find this as funny as we did. But okay, we read Stranglehold. Actually, go ahead and read.
Okay, so Stranglehold is 2 command points. You use it at the start of the first battle round before the first turn begins, so after Seas. And if your army includes any scouts or Phobos armor guys, they will.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if you're not running them, then you're probably doing something incorrect, I think. I could be wrong, but you probably are. Until the end of that battle round, so the first battle round, and you can only use it at the start of the first battle round, so it only works in the first battle round. Every time your opponent uses a stratagem, you roll a d6 on a 5 or more, it costs 1 additional command point.
Okay, so we both read that, like, auto-include. Every
of course,
game,
of
no
course.
matter what. We go in the other studio, we sit up and get ready to play. I'm like, I'm paying 4 command points for this, and I might use one of these, and then, like, Stranglehold. Nah, I don't want to spend 2 command points on that.
Right, all of a sudden,
when it came time to
that.
pay for it, I'm like, no.
Yep.
Even if it was 1 command point, I wouldn't use it.
No, because it's only a 5 up.
It's a 5 up, and it's only for the first battle round. It's like it's almost a thing. It's not a thing.
And so I was playing Death Guard, and I was pretty open about how I play Death Guard. I often don't use a lot of stratagems right away. I use like maybe Cloud of Flies and maybe a Veterans if I need to.
Yeah.
But I'm not doing.
But like even if you did, even if I knew you were gonna use them every time, I might spend 2 command points to maybe cost you 1 more.
This might be good against
Guard or Eldar, maybe.
I'm thinking maybe those 2, and at most it'd be like, okay, well I won't use my. I'm Guard. I have 15 command points. I have 20 command points. I don't care. Whatever. Maybe I'll have a couple more cost me.
I'm never gonna use it. We literally went from auto include every time, always use it
To maybe not
never.
that much. Okay, so if this costs 1 CP, maybe a little more usable, or if it costs 2 CP and worked on a 3 up.
Yeah, okay.
And even at a 3 up, I'd be like, maybe I'll use it.
4 would be a maybe.
Yeah.
All right, so one more thing I want to talk about. You know, yesterday I joked about. Oh no, I didn't joke. I was serious about getting 30 scout snipers.
Right.
But I still want to because I was thinking about that over the night. We talked about this yesterday. Catch you up. We're talking. Okay, so we like to kill characters. We get bonuses, and then if I roll
A 5 or 6 wound now.
I do a mortal wound.
Yeah.
Against the character. But like my snipers get the bonus from the Devastator Doctrine,
Right.
and then a different bonus when I switch to tactical. It's like there's like I don't want to. It's a split. So am I going to bother? I think I'm going to play my Raven Guard with just infiltrators
How big can
and cursors, and then hellblasters and aggressors.
How big can a scout squad be?
5?
Is it really only
I think
5?
it's only 5. Maybe it might be able to get bigger. I don't think it does though.
Now, I'm curious if it all depends on the stalker bolt rifles and the scouts and all that, but obviously with if you could get a bigger scout squad, you give them the litany of +1 to wound. All of a sudden they're +2 to wound.
Yeah, but then I gotta bring a chaplain next to a scout.
But if it was a big squad of dumb scouts, 10 scouts.
So it's gonna help me. It's gonna help me kill characters a little bit better in an army that already gets a bunch of bust killing characters, and we've already decided it's not that cool to kill characters.
Right.
It's not that useful. So maybe I'm not. It's more of a conversation. It's more of a conversation you and I had that we're talking about again on camera.
Now, don't like killing characters is useful.
Yep.
But it's not.
It's more often like
it's not going to win you the game all the time.
More often than not in your game, you're not targeting them intentionally.
Right. Exactly.
But sometimes you got to. Sometimes you need to, or sometimes you want to.
Right.
But like Gilman's on the table, Magnus Mortarion, that character knight. I'm happy to have this book.
100%, especially with and obviously the big bonus is eliminators with that stratagem.
I hate to do this on camera, but because I don't think we're gonna have time ever in the future. But I would love to see this new what we expect to be the king of the hill right now, Iron Hands. Yeah. Against Raven Guard in a straight fight.
I think Raven Guard would do. So we're trying to think of okay, obviously Iron Hands are probably the best, but I think Raven Guard would give them a run for their money because they would get close.
I think Raven Guard has the best chance of taking them.
Because they get so close.
Because Raven Guard can pick their fight.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas Iron Hands, it'd be a struggle for I think any other army to get near the Iron Hands. They have so much heavy small arms fire. They have spam heavy bolters, spam assault cannons.
I hate hiding at a line sight completely on turn 1.
Right.
I hate it. But if you play against Iron Hands,
you have to. Absolutely.
Whereas the Raven Guard only ever do that. Because either we're going to deploy in one spot and then redeploy with infiltrators, or we're hiding in the shadows.
We could, you know what?
I love this book. I love this book.
I would definitely be down to try a Raven Guard versus an Iron Hand game, just because I think that would be interesting. It's the one army that Gene Stealer Cults can get pretty close to Iron Hands as well.
True. Okay, so one final thing, Games Workshop, if you're listening, I'm fast becoming a bigger Raven Guard fan than Dark Angels. Do something about that.
So he's saying release more Dark Angel stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd like to see more Space Wolf stuff too, but you know what? These Codex supplements are pretty dope. So
yeah, honestly, they are. I can't wait. So we expect in probably a month if it goes by the same schedule as the last release.
Right, these came out about a month after the other
We're going to have the Imperial Fist and Salamander books out, hopefully.
Right.
So you're going to grab Salamanders, I'll grab Imperial Fist.
Exactly.
We'll do this again.
It's literally going to be us again, but I'll be playing Salamanders, he'll be playing Fist. I doubt the plans will change there. I would like to note that I had thought that this book was going to be ludicrous.
Same. I expected the cheese to be here and not in Iron Hands.
It's all in the Iron Hands though, guys. But this is still good. Now, what are you thinking for the next two? Imperial. I'm thinking it's going to be the Imperial Fist.
We're going predictions.
But who knows? The Salamanders might be the sleepers.
So Salamanders could take it. They could be their sleeper, right? But
they might give them 18 abilities too.
Okay, so I know that's true. That's why we got one, not even a good one.
Yeah, you got one. Iron Hands got 5. 5. Okay, you get 2 to their 5.
You know what? Iron Hands have had nothing ever. They deserve something finally.
Iron Hands are good last edition. 7th edition.
Oh, that's right, they were.
4.
Oh, but remember the whole Raven Guard 945 list idea I had?
Not really. 945?
No. It was we shouldn't be using on camera. Whatever, during the conversation. So there was either in Cao Yun or the other one of those books.
Yeah.
They had a way of just basically super alpha striking, where your whole army could be not your whole army, but you're basically most of your armies in drop pods or Vanguard veterans.
Like you're done by 941?
I don't feel like playing Warhammer today, so I'm done my game by 9:45 in the morning. I call it my 9:45 list.
The 9:45 list.
It was all about veterans that would, so Vanguard veterans that would deep strike without scattering near certain things and then could charge.
Okay.
And then a bunch of things.
Oh wow, they could charge.
And then could charge.
Wow.
Yeah.
What?
It was all the whole. I know. So it took advantage of all that. I called it my 9:45 list. I never got it painted in time before the end of 7th.
Okay, nice.
But yeah, it was called the 9:45 list. It's like you deploy, I deploy.
I go first.
I go first. It's 9:45 and the game's over. Let's go have breakfast and then we'll take a nap. I don't know why we're talking about this right now, but that was Raven Guard back in 7th.
You know what?
Only for the end though.
To be fair, all Space Marines were pretty ridiculously strong at the end of 7th edition. It was a very.
Hey, we're there again.
We're getting there again, and I mentioned that in the Iron Hand book. I'm kind of afraid because all these new supplements are breaking a lot of the core rules of the game.
You know what's great, buddy? That means when finally the Space Wolves and Dark Angel stuff comes out.
The official release of a new edition comes out.
I hope we're super close combat Dark Angels. I hope you're super shooty Space Wolves.
No.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Happy Wargaming.
Happy Wargaming.
Okay, so now if you want to go ahead and watch that game, If you haven't already done so, you can go ahead in the MiniWarGaming Vault right now to watch that. Now, if you're not already a Vault member, you can click the link below in the description to get yourself a 7-day free trial to watch that game. Find out what we were talking about, see how it went, give us your opinions, and hey, if you don't like watching the videos anymore, you can cancel before the 7 days is up. It won't cost you a thing. But I think you'll stick around. Thanks for watching, everybody. Happy wargaming.